Okay, so welcome to Module 5. Just in case you haven't caught on yet, I'm recording like 3 or 4 of these videos all at once in my backyard. It's the middle of August, and I'm starting to worry about getting all the content done for the course. So I hope that the information has been useful so far. I welcome your inputs. I can rejigger anything that needs rejiggering. So if these aren't landing right with you, let me know, and we'll see what can be done, within reason, of course. So in this module, we're talking about a more detailed look into Drawdown and SDGs. We're going to go through the standard layout of information in this introductory video. First, we're going to talk about tasks. The tasks this week, pretty much the same as normal. The only thing that's added, and I'll touch on it in a minute, is your peer review of the STP introduction paragraphs. You have a responsibility to do that, and I'll get into it in a minute. What I want to highlight in this module is thinking about setting goals and creating solutions and asking why an awful lot of the time. I will post an article, a little blog post I wrote about how sometimes we do things just because they've always been done that way. And it's a wasted opportunity, quite frankly. So the tasks this week are fairly normal except for that peer review. And again, all of the tasks that are part of each of these modules are listed in the course calendar as well. So you have another place where you can check your progress. The learning objectives revolve around some of the UN SDGs that relate to gender equality uh, and transportation access. So cite some ways to promote and support gender equality. Understand how transportation access can impact energy use, equity, and health. All of the best work is done in a way that ensures there are benefits to other aligned systems or other related systems. Understand the value of social safety nets. Why do we need those uh, in our in our in our communities, in our social structure? The content, there's some deeper content. We need to use a whole lot of tools, and we talked about tools in previous modules. Those tools are about setting informed goals. They're about defining steps to achieve those goals, and they're about recognizing those co-benefits and those co-burdens, how those ripples from that project can impact other systems. So one of the tools that I ask you to take a look at is a website that I put together, gosh, it must be 5 years ago now, that actually takes the UN SDGs and relates them to Project Drawdown solutions. Because in my mind, we know the answers. The thing that's stopping us from getting there is the lack of ability to have a systems thinking approach and the lack of recognition that we can't solve each individual problem in a vacuum. A quick building example is if you optimize the windows in a building and spend a little extra money, um, if you pay attention, you can then downsize potentially the heating and cooling system and save money there. And that's been proven time and time again. But when we look at individual parts and pieces individually, we're not going to be able to optimize the result. So we know the answers. We just need to apply them. There are externalities. This is also one of the problems that we face. And if you look at the Solutions Project, it's a website that has grown quite a bit, and it's kind of hard to find the links to the maps that used to be dominant on their page. But they have done an incredible job of illustrating through infographics what it would take to get to 100% renewable energy in any of the states in the US and any of the countries of the world. And they don't just talk about the costs, they talk about the cost of not doing. So they talk about the savings. If we're talking about renewable energy in New York State, for example, part of that picture is the externality of health cost savings, which is in the billions. And if you factor that in, renewable energy investment would be paid back within 6 years. The problem is, how do we link those disparate systems that are treated separately? And then the bigger task for you this week is the peer review work, as I mentioned. This format, this structure for going through that peer review is in the documents that's in the module. It's for the Sustainable Thinking Project introduction that each of you should have written and submitted. You'll have peer review from a few people to get inputs on how it could be refined and improved. And when you're doing that peer review on other people's works, all of the details are in here, but be respectful, provide suggestions. Don't just provide a suggestion, but also say why that's important. And this is all due this week. So have fun. And then in summary, the reflections, there's some questions to consider. Again, I mentioned this. What would it cost to switch to renewable energy? And it looks like I have a typo in there. What would it cost to switch to renewable energy? What would it cost not to switch? And what drawdown or SDG item challenged you the most and why? What are you learning so far? And that's it. I'm really pleased that we're doing this work together, and have a great week.